Like a vampire, I don't need to know you. Come with me, I'll show you. You can find me backstage, I'm a party with a Nicolas Cage. Girl, I want that body, you know you got a body like Nicolas Cage. You ain't gotta be scared, you ain't gotta be afraid, baby. It's just you and me alone tonight with Nicolas Cage.
And welcome back to Late Night Cage Fight, the planet's longest running Nic Cage worship fest. Technically not true, but sounds pretty good. I mean, we've been around for a while.
Can you fact check that?
Yeah, don't fact check us. If you do that, then Steve will cry.
You're not a real fan.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm here with Cage Fighter Steve and Cage Fighter Sean. Thanks again for joining me. If you haven't listened to us before, well, you should go back and listen to all of our great reviews we've done, starting at the beginning of Sir Nicolas Cage's career, from the very first Valley Girl to now. And today, gentlemen, we're talking about, wow, what a heralded piece of Nic Cage's legacy on film, Captain Corelli's Mandolin. How you feeling about this one, guys?
I've actually been a lifelong fan of the mandolin. I think that it is one of the most important string instruments ever created. I would actually go as far as saying that it is more influential than the guitar.
Yes, and it's a powerful instrument. Obviously one created for men, or with men in mind.
Do you remember what I said when we left the showing for Saw 3?
I believe you said, well, at least they won't be making any more.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
That's a similar feeling to what I had here.
Okay, but this was the first one. Saw 3 was the end of a trilogy of films.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's what we thought.
Well, we thought it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was actually the beginning of an endless nightmare.
I'm saying it's not the same, but it was a similar feeling. At least it's over.
So thank God it's done. That was
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been no secret that I've been dreading this watch for a while.
Right. We all kind of were,
and
I believe.
Wasn't what I expected.
Yeah.
And I will admit it's better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
But it still isn't something I will ever want to watch again.
So let me get this straight. Your initial reaction of the movie after we finished it was, thank God it's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
But also, it wasn't as bad as I expected.
Right.
What kind of dumpster fire existed in your imagination?
Well, I wasn't really expecting a dumpster fire. I was more expecting something that just way outside of my interest range. So I was really expecting something that was very like I don't know.
Yeah.
Astute
like
and intellectual. Yeah. And it wasn't very
like that.
Yeah. And it wasn't very like astute and intellectual. It was just
What do you mean?
I don't know, like,
I'm just being an asshole.
Yeah. I guess with Captain Corelli's Mandolin, I expected like large historical references and like very specific things that you need like outside knowledge to understand.
Right.
And that kind of stuff. And like,
yeah.
To some degree, I mean, I guess you did, but it was the only thing you really needed was the grand scheme outside perspective of fucking World War II.
Exactly. Yeah, we should mention to our listeners, this is a 2001 war film directed by John Madden.
Yeah.
Not the same John Madden, but how are we living in this timeline where the actual John Madden is about to be played by Nicolas Cage? Am I right?
That is true.
Do you know... Sean, give us more details about the upcoming Nicolas Cage as John Madden masterpiece that is apparently in the works.
Hold on one moment, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I can wait. Actually, while you look that up, Sean, I do have a bit of a story for you folks. I have two stories. I have a long one that is unrelated to the podcast, but hilarious. And I know Steve particularly will enjoy it. And number two, I have a shorter one, which I'm just going to tell now because I want to, and you're not going to stop me. I had intended to brew tea last night, and what I did was I looked through my
Do you mean like
tea
the
collection.
physical act of brew tea, or do you mean like the Gen Z act of brew tea, like start drama?
Well, you know me, Steve. I'm not much of a drama.
That's what I'm saying. It could be either way.
I guess you don't know me very well. I was just the regular act of brewing tea. However, well, what I did was I put the tea powder. It's not really tea. It's like this immune system powder stuff because that's all that was in there that looked like it would taste good at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I poured that packet in my mug, and then I warmed up the water. And then I fell asleep last night. So I never drank my tea. And I woke up this morning knowing we had to record this podcast. Went in the kitchen and thought, well, you know what? I really want coffee. And we have a Keurig. So I took the mug and I put it in the Keurig, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I put a new pot in it, and I started it, and I brewed it, and then we started talking. I took a sip of it, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with my coffee? Why does it taste so weird? It still has the tea powder in it from last night.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of silly. But I've decided I'm just going to drink it. I mean, what else can I do? You ready, Sean?
I am. So in breaking Nic Cage news, Nick is actually slated to play NFL icon John Madden in David O. Russell's upcoming biopic, which is set to be one of the greatest video game adaptations of all time.
All time.
I remember when this news first broke, a lot of people were laughing at it and questioning if it was real. Or C, just kind of walking around in a stupor, wondering if anything was real. That's where I was on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, looking at the side-by-side picture, I mean...
You can see it?
I could kind of see it, like him playing a young John Madden. He kind of has a similar face structure to it. So,
okay.
So I don't know.
Wow. I mean, if this goes well enough, maybe we even get a face-off kind of situation. Face-off 3.
Like, where he actually becomes John Madden?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's 100% what I'm saying, Steve. How did you know?
Personally, I'm just really hoping for a Madden versus NBA 2K film.
In 8K.
Yeah.
Captain Corelli's Mandolin is based on the 1994 novel Captain Corelli's Mandolin by Louis de Bernière.
So they ripped off the title.
They did. Can you believe that? Plagiarism from the get-go. The film pays homage to the thousands of Italian soldiers executed at the massacre of the Acqui Division by German forces in Cephalonia in September 1943, and to the people of Cephalonia who were killed in the post-war earthquake. The protagonists are played by Nicolas Cage and Penelope Cruz. Yeah, we're going to get more into this movie as much as we can, and I am so looking forward to the discussion, just even more than watching this this landmark piece of cinema. But first, we got to jump into some Nic Cage news, guys.
There were a couple interesting developments in regard to Nic's ties to Marvel. So recently, at this time, they are actually filming the Spider-Verse live-action spin-off, Spider Noir, which is set to be on it's going to be a series on MGM Plus, I guess.
MGM Plus, that is going to be the best casino app ever.
Yeah, this it's interesting that they're doing this live action. But yeah, some set photos came out, and this is where Nic is going to play an older and grizzled version of Spider-Man who lives in a 1930s New York as a private eye. So, pretty cool.
That is cool. I hope it happens. I'm always skeptical. We were supposed to get Nic Cage Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know anymore. He could back out last minute, say it's not for me. I'm sorry.
And we didn't even get him to reprise his role as Ghost Rider in the last Deadpool movie. One other interesting factoid that came out, and actually, now that I'm looking at this article, it's actually from 2023, but it's still interesting nonetheless.
Yes.
It was actually revealed by Nic during an interview that he got his name from Luke Cage.
Oh, I had heard that before.
Marvel. Yeah. Hadn't heard that before. Interesting.
Doesn't that just make him even more awesome?
Can't say he looks like him, but, you know, there are worse characters to name yourself after.
Well, I don't look like a peanut butter candy, Sean. Right?
I think so.
Steve doesn't look like a football player.
Ouch. But also
From the
true.
Green Bay Packers. Any other news? You've got my spidey senses tingling, Sean.
You know, that's it for now, but you know, who knows, we might get a breaking story coming in at the last moment.
You got one, or you're waiting for one?
We're currently on edge, waiting for.
Oh my God!
The latest. News.
There's something coming in. I see the wires are moving here. Oh, here, I'm gonna tear it off and read it. It says, Nic Cage's son beat the shit.
It's sensationalized news, so it's hard to say what the real situation is. I mean, they could have gotten into like a single fight and kid took it too far. I mean, shit happens in the heat of the moment, but it doesn't mean like they have a history of violence and he just regularly like abuses her or whatever.
Yeah. Thank you for that insightful analysis. My friends, are we ready to talk about Captain Corelli's Mandolin from 2001?
Do we have to?
We do. We have an obligation. I mean, think about it. What if there are Corelli fans out there? That's it for them. This is that one movie that Nic Cage, he just really shines. And you have the romance angle with Penelope Cruz. You have such wonderful accents. Greek accents, Italian accents, made-up accents.
You know, Reese, you might not have known this, but I am actually half Greek. And my great-grandfather actually was killed in the same event from in the massacre of Cephalonia.
Oh my God. So you have a personal connection to this movie.
Yes.
Oh my. Well, did the film stir up any emotions within you? Did that action sequence speak to you particularly?
I mean, it did make me kind of bored.
Yeah. Hey, Christian
like
Bale.
that.
We had Christian Bale. He's in it, right?
Yeah, and he didn't even lose or gain any significant amounts of weight for this film, so he didn't get shredded or anything.
Yeah. He was just
Come on,
Christian Bale with a Greek accent. Woo!
Yeah.
All right, when the movie starts, we are in Greece's Ionian Islands that is being occupied by the Italian army, which has just brought a large number of soldiers with a few Germans to the island of Cephalonia. I don't know why that name is funny to me, Cephalonia. Maybe
It sounds like a pasta.
like a what?
Like a pasta.
Oh, a pasta, yeah, or encephalitis, or cephalic carnage, or just I don't know. But the people on the island just kind of give up. They're like, yeah, okay, take us over, do it. And then Nic Cage is part of the Italian army, and he is taken in, so to speak. Well, forcefully has this family give him room and board.
Yeah, that was like the whole thing, right? Well, like
That was the whole thing.
they like
Yeah, that was
marched
the
into
part-
town, and he was like, "Who's that girl?" Figured out where she lived and like forced himself into her house.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Yeah.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Bale was not thrilled.
Yeah, I remember Steve saying he recognized that there's really no good people in this movie. So if you're a fan of movies with no good people in them, you might like it. But the one endearing quality of Captain Corelli is he can play the mandolin like no one can believe, and he can sing too. Did you guys appreciate Nic Cage's singing and mandolin strumming?
I always appreciate him singing.
Yeah, good.
I honestly thought that this movie, not knowing anything about it, was gonna be like a movie about somebody who was like learning the mandolin or taking mandolin lessons.
Man, that would be such a romantic part of it, more so than the actual film.
It's true. I expected there to be more mandolin, or more like references to it. I don't know, something.
Yeah, he doesn't play it a whole lot.
Instead, they just
Yeah.
blast people with a rifle.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I mean, there's really no point in me going through all of the plot points, because it's basically man forces himself into house because young woman is hot. She lives with her dad. Her dad is like, fine, I don't really have a choice, whatever, dude. But she's also engaged to Christian Bale. Christian Bale's like, I really love you, a hot young woman, but I want to fight.
Yeah,
in the
I mean, it
war.
was literally, she was like, he's like, there's a war going on. I gotta go. And she's like, can you give me a kiss before you leave? And he's like, damn it, woman, there's a war.
Yeah, what don't you understand about this? So he shipped off, and then she's like, okay, well, I'll wait for you. Then Captain Corelli, that is when he moves in. He's like, hey, I'm going to live here now. And she's like, no, you're not. He's like, yes, I am. Or you're just going to get beat to death or something. Not really, but there is just, they don't have a choice. And then he's like, look, I'm not that bad. I'm a musician, bro.
I play
Check
guitar,
this
bro.
out. I can play The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And then she's like, well, that's kind of hot, but I'm engaged.
And here's Wonderwall.
And then there's some political stuff that you just can't follow because A, you can't understand their accents, and B, it's not really it's not really a well-known story from the wartime era, right? Were either of you familiar with this at all?
No.
No.
Yeah, to me it seemed like it was written for people that already know the history. They did not do a good job explaining what was happening, because you have the Italians, the Germans, and the Greeks, and they all hate each other, but they're a part of the story, and they screw each other over. And yeah, basically, what, the Germans move in? No, the Allies are coming.
Yeah. They had originally refused to surrender to an Italian. So they had to bring in, like, German leadership or something at one point. So that's where the one German dude came from.
So we have our token Nazi.
Yeah. But he's a pretty chill dude.
He is. They're trying to get him to sing. Nic Cage is like, please sing. Please. I don't sing. Nein, I don't sing. Heil Hitler. And then later, he has the most sonorous voice. It's beautiful. I cried tears of fascism when I heard it.
Oh.
And I was crying even through the whole battle scene, which that's really, I think, what we all want to talk about. Is just, it's suddenly, it's almost at like the height of the dramatic tension in the movie. There's like a Saving Private Ryan war scene, Apocalypse Now, where characters are just getting mowed down, bombs are dropping, people are screaming, there's bloodshed, and it was quite a jolt from the story, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Would you have preferred a Time to Kill-esque trip sequence?
Absolutely. 100%.
The real question is that, if this is tied in continuity with Time to Kill, which I think it really has to, with World War II being based on true events. So,
and I think that's another reason why we dreaded this movie so much, is the last one we watched, Time to Kill, with Nic Cage as an Italian soldier. That's still, I mean, it's been years now, right? And it's still just haunting us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a movie where Nic Cage rapes and murders a local woman and then never kills anyone. The whole movie. Never kills anyone else.
More people are killed in this movie than in Time to Kill.
Right. But then it makes you wonder, in Time to Kill, why was that the time to kill? There were plenty of other times that I think would have been better to kill, but that time, well, I don't know. I don't want to get into it again. It's still haunting me.
And also, why did nobody play the mandolin in Time to Kill?
I remember in Time to Kill, he's trying to sneak onto a ship or something. He should have entranced them with his mandolin playing. He should have put them to sleep like Jigglypuff. Yeah. How about that romance though? Nic Cage and Penelope Cruz. We get a pretty hot sex scene. At least one.
No dong though.
No dong in this one. Yeah. We have to admit, before you go out and rent it.
Maybe one of these days.
Yeah. I think the most important scene is when the Germans ambush the Italian soldiers and then just light them up. That was, I think, one of the most important scenes historically, because that really happened, according to fakenews.com.
Did we get a single Cage out in this film?
I don't think so. Not that I recall. There's a part where she kicks him out, right? She's like, I don't. Well, we have to mention Christian Bale comes back from the war.
Yeah, she had thought him dead,
Injured.
right?
Yeah. And he wasn't that far off.
Yeah.
So she, well, I say she is really her father. Her father is a doctor, and he nurses him back to health, I believe.
Which
And then
doctor feels odd because they keep referring to him as a doctor, but like honestly, the depiction throughout most of the film is that
well,
he's more of like a chirurgeon or whatever. He's just kind of like, you know, simple herbs and salves, living in a small town, not really being a modern doctor. Up until the end of the film,
he's the village witch doctor.
Yeah, that's kind of what it like feels
Posing
like.
as- Okay.
Like you never see any sort of medical facility or anything like that. He just like he'll occasionally pull
Well-
out some gauze and like salves and shit. But like the end
is-
of the movie, they're in like a full-on like modern hospital.
Okay, so you're saying because he's not working from a hospital, he's a fake doctor.
No, I'm saying like every scene when there's any sort of use for a doctor, he's always like I don't know, bedside in like an old house, like, you know, like
Yeah,
traveling.
that sounds-
Yeah. But then like the end of the movie, they flash to his daughter becoming a doctor, and she's in like
Yeah.
a modern
Spoilers.
hospital.
Okay. All right. I will accept. I will accept your argument. It didn't bother me that much, but I'm a little defensive because he was my favorite character. and he was played by John Hurt, who's awesome. The other thing I like about Dr. Giannis, am I pronouncing that right, Sean? I don't want to get the Greek wrong.
We'll say yes.
Okay. Another part of the movie is the earthquake that happens at the end. It just levels huge parts of the island, including the doctor's house. And they show him inside the house being crushed by all of this debris. And Pelagia is running, looking for her father. Father! And he's rolled out of the debris and survived. It's like a Superman origin story or something. I don't know. He survived and he's fine.
Yeah, I remember like the reactions of it on both ends. At first, like whenever you see the house crumbling, you're like, no, come on, don't do this. This is stupid. And then like he survives it and you're like, how did they make it worse?
How did you guys feel about the believability of Nick playing an Italian soldier?
So what I was gonna say earlier when you guys were kind of talking about Nick's acting in this and like the cage outs and whatnot, to be honest with you, I got kind of a serious Vampire's Kiss vibe from Nick. That's like it had the same kind of like awkward, weird, I'm gonna rape you kind of mentality.
Okay.
I mean, he did
Oh boy.
force his way into a...
That's what I'm saying.
Women's
Like, yeah, he
house
just
and-
kind of did what he wanted and like didn't really,
She was married.
yeah, understand or accept what was going on with everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
complicated
can tell
issues
you,
with
fellas,
goofy and
I can
silly.
tell you that this movie was reviewed poorly across the board. It has an average rating of 4.5 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. One criticism is that it deviates from the film's plot. I'm sorry, it deviates from the novel's plot and actually kind of downplays some of the tragedy in the novel. So the novel itself is actually much more intense. The critical consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is, quote, the cinematography is gorgeous, but the movie plays it fast and loose with history, and the novel it was adapted from. Mostly the movie fails because the romance between the leads strain credulity, and the story is largely uninvolving. So, yeah, boring. It's a boring movie. The romance is weak. The action is kind of contained to one small part of the movie and is just way over the top, in my opinion. It just elevates the tone so drastically that it's almost comical.
And I remember it feeling very disconnected too. It didn't seem. It seemed like a slideshow more than like an action sequence.
Steve, I love that. Yeah, that's perfect. Seems like a slideshow.
I could also see the way that the action scene was done kind of being in poor taste, because the whole point of that part of the plot being the emphasis on the tragedy. So, and that might tie back to some of the criticism there.
Right. I mean, there's so much you can do to imply the action that can affect the tone more tastefully in a movie like this. You know, it doesn't have to be, I don't know, I'm thinking of like you see the troops coming into the island, right? And you can see from the expressions of the actors what that means. It could be this like slow dissolve. It's powerful, like, oh my God, people are gonna die. But you know, you gotta show it something. So they just went all out. They Michael Bay'd it. Big deal.
This movie also didn't do that great in the box office. Overall, it only made $5 million over its budget. It cost $57 million to make, and the total box office was only 62. So
okay, theory. I have a theory on that. Nicolas Cage was not allowed to do what he wanted to do on set. He probably had a solid vision, right? He's like, the character is going to do this, and it's going to be amazing, and the director said no. And this is what happens, people.
John Madden, stick to football.
Yeah, he's probably like, I want a time travel scene. I want to see me in the future, and I'm thinking about me in the past. And then I punch someone in the face, and I realize it's my great-great-grandson. That would have made for an amazing film.
See, if they made the mandolin a time travel device, then...
Yeah, or he hid a gun inside of it.
Yeah.
It was like his special, the Uzi or something.
Now I want an anime adaptation of this where the mandolin is also a high-powered rifle.
Desperado style. Have you seen that?
I have not, actually.
Oh, yeah. You should go see it. Go watch Desperado. I don't know if it holds up, but when I was a kid, the action is just so ridiculous. I loved it. Yeah, guys, I'm not a huge fan of it. It was 2 hours of my life I'm not going to get back, but hey, at least it wasn't Cotton Club.
It's true. You know, I was gonna say you might have actually been onto something about Nick not being able to give enough direction, because wasn't it like one of the movies right after this that he actually directed and starred in? Sunny.
Oh.
Sunny. Yeah.
Oh. The next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the next two after this were Christmas Carol and Wind Talkers, and then Sunny right after that.
Okay. All right. And we've already done Christmas Carol, so the next one, officially, will be Wind Talkers.
I mean, we could do Christmas Carol again. I know how much you liked that movie, Reese.
No. Please don't. Don't do that to me.
It's getting close to that time of the year. I mean, I think that's just the right thing to do.
Yeah. No. I would be interested in knowing why Nic Cage accepted this role. Of course, I already have a theory. Money.
I think Nick also likes to challenge himself a lot. So I think there's some degree of wanting to do more serious roles on occasion.
Yeah, sure.
This also was a couple years after Saving Private Ryan, so maybe... You know, that's a good point.
It's true. What year was this?
2001.
Yeah, so that would have been a big time to like get involved in that kind of stuff too.
Get involved in war movies? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2001 was kind of a big war interest in this country.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was in production before all of that.
Fair.
Gosh, just go out there and if no other movie makes you want to pick up guitar, like this might be the one for you. You'll watch it and just think, man, I maybe we're gonna get invaded. Just think about that. Or whatever country you're listening from, you don't know. Maybe there's a current invasion, and music is power. And I hope that helps you.
Or maybe you just want to pick up a rifle and go mow down some Nazis,
or hand grenades.
Yeah, and you don't have a copy of Wolfenstein readily available.
I would give the movie. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. I mean, if I gave Cotton Club a 1 out of 10, I can't, in my right mind, give it much more. I'll boost it a little bit because Nic Cage is in it. That's a given. The cinematography was good. I think they did a good job at making it look like the 1940s in Greece. I'm sure that Sean's family would agree. It's very authentic.
I'd ask them, but they died.
I'm sorry.
I will say one more thing to further one of my earlier points. I just found some trivia that Christian Bale is apparently a big fan of Nicolas Cage's performance in Vampire's Kiss. So I think that's where that energy came from. I think they talked about it, and I think he just played up the Vampire's Kiss image a little bit just to have fun with Christian Bale.
Do you think Christian Bale was kind of being ironic?
Of loving him in that movie?
Right.
No, I think that's a serious thing. I totally agree with that sentiment. I mean, imagine that entire movie and somebody else other than Nicolas Cage, or even Nicolas Cage bringing like a totally different level of energy, as we know that he has a wide spectrum, but more of a serious role as opposed to the chaotic energy that he brought.
Right.
It's not good. Yeah. It's good because of him and what he brought to it. So yeah,
sure.
Like or not the movie itself, but he was great in it.
I'm a huge Nic Cage fan, as we all know. It's a necessity. In fact, the punishment for not being one is execution, and I fully accept that. I acknowledge that. However, I'm starting to believe that Nic Cage's performance in Vampire's Kiss was kind of luck. That it's, when you look at all these other movies where he's pretty unhinged, we get some other pieces of gold. But Vampire's Kiss it was like the stars were aligned for some reason. And I'm just saying I have trouble believing that it was all 100% intentional. Like, I really feel like they started filming and then the director, it's a low budget movie already. And the director is like, I don't know what's happening, but just do it. Keep going. Let's go downtown and I want you to scream at the homeless people.
I will agree with you that the positive reception of it is luck, but I don't understand how the acting itself can be luck. I mean, it wasn't just like you just woke up one day and he was lucky.
I'm saying, no, his performance was intentional, but the way that it happened to work within the context of what, like, if the director was like, no, I really want to make a serious comedy, so if you could, maybe tone it down a little bit or that kind of thing, it would have just ruined it.
Sure.
I'm not arguing with you, Steve. This is late night Cage fight, but I cannot fight you on Vampire's Kiss.
Right.
But it's just so odd to me how well that movie works on
Yeah.
multiple levels.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
just want to know. I just want to know what Christian Bale was thinking when he said that to Nic Cage. I mean, we don't know if he did.
Yeah.
But we're assuming.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would just be that it was fun. I like the energy you brought to that character. I mean,
I wish
wow.
he had put more Vampire's Kiss into Captain Corelli.
Right.
More.
Yeah, totally agree.
I could see it was there.
I feel like I
Could you
wish
imagine?
all of them had, I don't know, more intelligence, more dialogue, more something.
Could you imagine if So what is your daughter's name? Oh, my daughter is Pelagia. Oh, Pelagia! You're ready for me to move in? Oh, you ready? I would. Oh, God. I wish it happened.
Anyways, I'm a 2 out of 10 on this. I didn't care for the performance of any of the characters. I thought all of them were mediocre versions of themselves. All of your Oscar-winning actors and actresses.
Okay.
I feel like the direction and the story itself was bad. All of the characters were bad. They were all actively hurting each other, and there was no one to really like emotionally attach to.
Unethical.
Yeah, there was no one to like emotionally attach to like be like, this person is being hurt and innocent.
Right.
But like everybody was
I kind of felt
fucking
sorry for the Nazi.
Yeah, honestly, that's a good point. The Nazi is probably the most attachable person in there, because even though, he sent all of his friends to slaughter, he felt bad about it.
He did feel bad about it.
Yeah. Like, genuinely knew this was the wrong thing to do, but he was just in a fucked situation. And but everybody else, I guess he still kind of fucked everybody over for his own personal benefit, but everyone else did it.
Well, if he wanted to live.
Right. Everyone else did it more of for their own gain, not necessarily for their own life. So yeah, I will agree with you. The Nazi is actually the most relatable character. So I might actually drop lower than a 2, but I'll stick there.
But he'll give the Nazi a 5.
Yeah.
I would
All right, Sean, let's hear it. I'm waiting for that 7. That 8. Let's get that average up.
I would actually give this movie a 5. I think technically, in a lot of ways, it's fine. I agree that I don't think the performances were that great, but I just feel like there wasn't that much memorable about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's fair. Yeah, Steve and I, we may be putting too much of our personal feelings into this review. But
I am not the target audience for this. There may be people that are, I actually was having a conversation with somebody the other day that was, I was telling them about the podcast, and I mentioned that this was the most recent movie we watched, and I was like, yeah, I don't really recommend it, but I explained the plot, and they were like, oh, I'm actually on board for that. So,
wow.
I
get them on here.
For people that are super into World War II history, there might be something here for you, or if you really like love stories. I
should ask my coworker about that. He's like a huge World War II buff. His screensaver at work is him in a tank. Kind of World War II buff. He regularly plays tabletop games with friends. World War II buff. But I should ask him if he's watched this movie and what his thoughts are on it, because that might be interesting. And he's also got a dark sense of humor, so maybe the raping and pillaging of each other is up his alley. I don't know.
Can I just say, Steve, and I'm not ragging on you, I genuinely like that you mispronounced screensaver. You said screen shaver.
Oh, did I?
And you did, but and I can cut it out if you want.
I know, I don't care.
It's I imagined an actual like screen shaving thing in my head. You know, when it wipes, when it comes back, it's almost like shaving off. I just thought it was genius. That's all. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah, that was totally my intention.
Great. Wow. So 5 out of 10, Sean. That's fair. Are you willing to rewatch your 5s out of 10s? If that makes sense. Like how likely are you to rewatch a movie that's just kind of right on the nose, midline?
Not very likely.
Okay. Captain Corelli's Mandolin, everyone. Go out, see it once. It's a good one to watch with your grandparents. They'll probably like it more than you because, history and romance and opera, guitar playing, a little bit of rape and pillaging as well. So might be too much for some folks, but I thought we handled it pretty well. So kudos to us. What's next in the Nickverse? I gotta know. Oh, we already said Wind Talkers.
Yeah, Wind Talkers.
Another World War II movie.
You guys are familiar with who the Wind Talkers were?
No idea
at all.
Those were they were like monks that lived up in the northern mountains before the Fire Nation attacked, right?
Yeah. Good job. No, I believe they were able to. They were people who were intercepting Nazi messages. Is that right? But Wind Talkers, I think, is an American Indian term.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there's going to be some intrigue in this. Okay. I don't know. I've never seen it before.
I'm actively more interested in this one.
Me too.
I mean, even just like from the little bits I've read up, and I think I might have watched the trailer. I'm not dreading this one. It's still not my type of film, so I'm highly doubting, like a 9 out of 10 banger here. But
yeah, I think it's going to be a more straightforward war movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it also deals mainly with the Americans, so Nic Cage won't have to do a lot of accentualizing.
Yeah,
it would be hilarious though if he has the Con Air accent the whole time. I would die. But yeah, that's what's next on the list. We got Wind Talkers, and then you said Sunny, which is going to be the first Nicolas Cage directed film.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I don't remember if it's the first. I'll be honest, I don't know if I've been paying attention to the director through a lot of the earlier films. Yeah. That was usually your job.
He directed Cotton Club.
And then his uncle just decided to put his name on it.
Yeah.
Love it. Which, by the way, we should mention, if we're going to talk about Uncle Francis Ford Coppola, his new long-awaited masterpiece just came out, Megalopolis, with Adam Driver.
Nice.
I heard after that, he'll have to get some work from Nick, because his
yeah, didn't he invest just a shit ton of money in it?
Yeah, I heard it's a mess.
Yeah, there was not really a lot of positive things coming out pre-release. But my favorite thing was, for the initial trailer they had all these fake reviews of they were fake reviews of Francis Ford Coppola's old movies, and they were bad reviews. And it was all meant to show how the critics were wrong about him. But it turns out that the marketing agency they hired to do the trailer, they did that without permission, and they completely invented these quotes. So, New York Times or whoever it was never said these things at all. So they had to take the entire trailer down and recut it. It was awesome.
Somebody got fired.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, if one of you guys, if you happen to see Megalopolis, I would be interested. There's no way I'm going to see it in the theater, though. But I am curious what this thing's all about.
I am curious. I might. I'll have to see.
I mean, and it's possible there's a Nic Cage cameo somewhere. Maybe he's an extra. Maybe he just happened to be walking on set that day. You know?
Maybe he's actually playing Adam Driver, playing the lead role.
Maybe. You never know.
Maybe he knew the guy that directed
You
it.
never know. Oh my god. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me for this spirited discussion of Captain Corelli's Mandolin, a film I never hope to watch again. But, yeah, if it's your thing, go out, see it today. Like, check it out, right? Catch us next time for an exciting review of Wind Talkers. We are looking forward to that one. And then we should be rounding out the season pretty soon.
Yeah.
Leading up to our ultimate cage fight. So, that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. And we just want to say thank you for listening and cage out.
Cage out.
Out.